Hello, thank you for joining us and welcome to the Space Applications themed webinars hosted by the Satellite Applications Catapult and Innovate UK. I'm Gemma Ball from the Satellite Applications Catapult and I'd firstly like to give you a brief introduction to the webinar. Please can I ask you all to mute your microphones. We are providing a set of webinars to convey the opportunities for space applications in some example sectors. These include environmental monitoring and management, agri-tech and IoT, transport systems, digital health and maritime. The webinars are running to coincide with the Emerging and Enabling Technologies competition, from which there is an opportunity to secure funding for innovative developments. The webinar will last 40 minutes in total and will involve 20 minutes of presentations followed by 15 to 20 minutes of Q&A. Afterwards, the slides will be available to download from the Satellite Applications Catapult website. The format for the presentation is as follows. Carol Sunderland from Innovate UK will summarise the competition opportunity. The theme expert from the Satellite Applications Catapult will speak about the opportunities from space applications in this sector, and I, Gemma Ball from the Satellite Applications Catapult, will conclude by explaining some points about eligibility and how to apply to the Emerging and Enabling Technologies competitions. I will now hand over to Carol Sunderland.
I'm now going to provide an overview of the opportunity and scope for space applications in the current Emerging and Enabling Technologies competition from Innovate UK. This competition offers UK businesses the opportunity to apply for grant funding to develop innovative solutions to challenges in the emerging and enabling technology sector. We're looking to support truly innovative developments that will disrupt or create new markets and thereby generate new revenue streams from products, processes, or services. There are 4 priority areas within this competition. Space applications is one such priority area. The others include emerging technologies, digital, and enabling capabilities. It is very important to identify which innovation area you are applying to. Regarding timeframes, the current competition opened in September and will close on the 8th of November. Applicants will be informed if they're successful by the end of January. With regards to scope for space applications, we are looking for innovations based on the use of satellite data or signals that are commercially exploitable. This means that satellite data or signals must be an integral part of the innovation. The innovations must involve or relate to the use of one or more of the following 3 main satellite technologies. That is satellite communications, so new services or applications that use satellite communications infrastructure or innovations related to the ground segment and user terminals. One area of interest is in innovations that will strengthen satellite industry links with other telecommunication sectors, including 5G. Another satellite technology that can be used is satellite positioning, navigation and timing. This must involve new services or applications that use the global navigation satellite system. We're also interested in innovations that address the challenges of a disruption to GNSS. So technologies that protect systems using GNSS against its loss are regarded as eligible. And thirdly, Earth observation. Now, this can include new services or applications using existing satellite infrastructure or technology that directly link to the provision of new commercial services. It should also be noted that projects that include development of new satellite instruments or hardware are eligible, so long as they have a clear path to exploitation as part of a service or application that uses satellite data or signals. So by way of summary, I should stress that it's important to convey the method of exploitation, and it is also important to identify the innovation area as space applications in order for it to be assessed appropriately. We're interested in applications from all sectors, and this is the reason for these themes webinars that we're providing with the Satellite Applications Catapult. Please note that there is an opportunity to seek advice from the Satellite Applications Catapult, but it isn't an obligation. With this, I introduce you to the theme expert from the Satellite Applications Catapult to provide some sector insight.
Hello, my name is Sean McCarthy and I'm from the Satellite Applications Catapult. I we'll be sharing with you a brief overview of the potential for satellite applications in the marine and maritime sector and highlighting some of the areas where innovation could open up new commercial opportunities. Due to the remote nature of activities in the maritime domain, satellites are already a well-established and crucial part of the development of the blue economy, a sector that contributes over €500 billion to the European economy and supports 5.4 million jobs. As you can see from this slide, the three core satellite technologies of global navigation satellite systems, this includes GPS, satellite communications, and satellite Earth observation, are all used extensively by the maritime sector, especially to enable maritime situational awareness. In fact, safety of life at sea was the main driver for the establishment of maritime satellite communications and is led by a UK-based company. In the maritime sector, demand for resilient GNSS and secure connectivity are key innovation drivers, and many current applications of satellites deploy a combination of these technologies. For example, ship-to-shore satellite communications and positioning enable maritime assets to be connected to their head office and other stakeholders around the world. With over 85% of goods travelling by sea, connectivity to the cargo as well as the vessel is increasingly important to maintain an efficient global supply chain. Good connectivity for crews, by which we mean keeping in contact with family and friends back home, and the delivery of infotainment services is increasingly important for the retention of trained personnel, a key industry challenge. There are many other areas where connectivity, positioning, and remote sensing are essential, including seabed surveys and the tracking of assets such as sea containers, and, not least of all, navigation and other services for the fast-growing leisure marine sector. Vital weather services for all those at sea are provided using satellite data. In this field, the recent growth in small sat sector and lowering launch costs is enabling the development of bespoke satellite constellations for weather monitoring. Ocean science is increasingly important when taking into account the impact of climate change and monitoring the impact of catastrophic events such as hurricanes, tsunamis, and oil spills. Advances in radar instruments are helping to capture data even when conditions are cloudy and at night. All of these space-derived capabilities may be used in conjunction for these activities and support other sectors, including defence and security in the maritime domain. The commercial maritime market is attractive to new business as it continues to grow and is open to innovation, but there are a number of challenges that must be considered when addressing market needs. Firstly, compared to other sectors, maritime customers are highly distributed across the globe. The table shows that the total number of commercial ships is limited, and depending on the product, access may be through a complex supply chain, but as previously stated, the market is growing and the sector is willing to invest in solutions that make a difference to the financial bottom line. One area of focus is smart ports. Maritime agencies and companies are exploring how they can improve connectivity for end-to-end logistics, reducing pollution, increasing resilience, and enable seamless asset tracking. Engaging the customer and operational access is challenging in the maritime sector. Solutions need to be developed with the particular requirements of the marine sector in mind, such as harsh environmental conditions and remote access for maintenance and repair. But satellite connectivity is increasingly revolutionizing access to these markets and will spur growth in the development of remote diagnostics with the potential to reduce the costs of ship breakdowns at sea. For marine monitoring, few agencies or even nations have the resources to patrol vast oceans of areas. Monitoring the oceans from satellites combined with other data sets has the potential to reduce costs and provide a frequent picture of activity across national borders and marine protected areas. The impacts of climate change are adding pressure to coastal defence budgets, but access to historical Earth observation data combined with the latest machine learning tools can support change detection, aid forecasting, and underpin improved decision-making. These types of services are needed, for example, by civil engineering firms working for regional authorities. One area that should not be forgotten is the leisure marine market. This is growing rapidly around the world and is less regulated than commercial shipping. For example, the cruise industry has a great demand for cost-effective passenger connectivity and related services on a par with the high-value services passengers use at home. The sector presents a number of major opportunities, including port efficiency improvements, such as the speed with which a vessel can dock, unload and depart. Also, maritime logistics. The near real-time monitoring of people, goods and assets is increasingly vital to support an industry that operates on very low margins, especially during times of oversupply. In addition, products for a growing leisure marine market to safeguard seafarers and reduce environmental impact is considered to be a promising but underserved area. The marine sector is increasingly regulated to protect an especially vulnerable environment and marine resources. These regulations have a direct impact on maritime investment and business activities. More official vessel monitoring and a better understanding of marine activities is required for effective compliance and to ensure the long-term sustainability of vital resources. Also, environmental stewardship. This is the monitoring and reporting of human activity and its impact on the ocean environment and natural resources. For example, environmental impact assessments for major projects such as new ports and offshore wind farms. Other areas that present new commercial opportunities include fisheries. As the demand for wild-caught fish and aquaculture increases, it is necessary for authorities to police marine protected areas and for companies to ensure the sustainability of fish stocks and to identify potential new sites for sustainable aquaculture facilities. To exploit the blue economy, energy and mineral resources, innovation will be required in the use of autonomy and robotics to access remote or dangerous environments. Better connectivity across our ocean has improved sea visibility for regulation of activities, monitoring of pollution, and relay of vessel position and condition information. There is a real need to reduce costs and increase effectiveness in all of these areas. The addressable maritime market must be considered as a global customer base, and UK companies are well positioned to access this market, particularly through organisations that have a strong maritime heritage, such as the maritime insurance sector based in London and UK marine engineering firms. In addition, the UK has world-leading expertise in marine science, logistics, aquaculture and fisheries, coastal engineering, and offshore renewable services, all offering different routes to the maritime market. The UK research and development landscape is producing new technologies for marine autonomy and robotics and the monitoring of the maritime environment. These include organisations such as the National Oceanography Centre and the UK Hydrographic Office. London is also home to the headquarters of the International Maritime Organisation, the IMO, responsible for international regulation including pollution and safety and security at sea. The Satellite Applications Catapult and partners across the wider Catapult network, including the Offshore Renewable Energy Catapult and the Transport Systems Catapult, are here to support innovation and can facilitate introductions to potential partners. In addition, the Satellite Catapult has a number of centres of excellence, of which 3 have strong maritime connections across their regions. I hope that gives you an overview of potential opportunities, and I'm happy to discuss more of these in the Q&A session at the end of this webinar. Thank you.
Now we begin part 3, and this section is devoted to the Emerging and Enabling Technologies competition and provides some information about eligibility and how to apply. Considerations for applications include eligibility, scope, innovation area, types of projects, funding limits, and types of organisation. There is the option to download a copy of the General Guidance for Applicants from the Innovate UK website. It will strongly increase your chances of submitting a quality application, so I would endorse and encourage everybody to download a copy of that guidance. So to be eligible for funding, you must be a UK-based business or research organisation. You must carry out your project work in the United Kingdom and intend to exploit the results from the UK. Some points on eligibility. Projects can range in size from £35,000 to £2 million. This is the total project costs. Projects must last between 3 months and 3 years. The project costs of under £100,000 must be led by an SME. Project costs of £100,000 or more must be led by any size business or research technology organisation. If you expect your eligible project costs to be £100,000 or more, you must collaborate with at least one other organisation, and at least one company in the collaboration must be an SME. The total funding available is £25 million, and this is split £5 million for projects that have eligible costs of up to £100,000 and last between 3 and 12 months, £10 million for projects that have eligible costs for up to £2 million and last between 1 and 3 years, and £10 million for knowledge transfer partnerships. Further information about knowledge transfer partnerships can be found on the General Guidance for Applicants, so do look at the Innovate UK website. Types of projects. So projects may focus on technical feasibility, including human-centered design studies, industrial research or experimental development. This will depend on the challenge. There are varying degrees of funding available depending upon your size of business. How to apply. To start an application, you must create an account as the lead applicant or sign in as a representative of the organisation. Once you have an account, you can track your progress of the application. Again, do refer to the General Guidance for Applicants, as it will strongly help you when you are applying to the Innovate UK website. The Emerging and Enabling Technologies competition application process will consist of 10 questions. This is the main part of the application, and it's important to consider each of these questions and these areas in your answers. Additional information can be found through the Innovate UK families. That includes the Knowledge Transfer Network. The KTN have written a document which is Writing a Successful Funding Applications booklet, which can be downloaded from the KTN website and also through this slide deck. There is a new innovation funding service. This is a digital automated service that will be a part of the application process. Again, if you need more information about this, please refer to the General Guidance for Applications booklet. Okay, so another reminder that the application submission deadline is the 8th of November. That's noon on the 8th of November. So ensure that all your documentation and application paperwork is ready to submit before noon on the 8th of November. So a brief reminder, there are 5 webinars. They include the Environmental Monitoring and Management, Agri-Tech and IoT, ITS, Digital Health and Maritime. This slide deck will be available for download from the Satellite Applications Catapult. Thank you all for listening. I would now ask you to unmute your microphones as we go into the questions and answer session.